Crawford is a town located in western McLennan County, Texas. It is best known as the Western White House, home of former President of the United States George W. Bush, who currently resides part-time at the Prairie Chapel Ranch, which is located just outside of Crawford, Texas. Currently, the city of Crawford's population is 907. On the outside, Crawford appears to be a small, quiet town. However, that appearance is rather deceiving. Corruption runs deep, from the city council to the city hall, and what's even worse, the city's police department. I invite you to watch the following video. Thank you, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. 5 people arrested in Crawford on charges of violating the city's protest ordinance during President Bush's May 3, 2003 visit sued the city and its police chief Tuesday. In their lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court in Waco, the protesters claim the ordinance violated their First Amendment rights and the Texas Bill of Rights. The suit says the city requires people who want to demonstrate to apply for a permit 15 days in advance. They must state the purpose of their march and the number of people and kinds of materials that will be involved. The police chief issues these permits. The police chief can't have that discretion. He cannot pick and choose who wants to protest. That's unconstitutional, Attorney Jim Harrison said in a news conference in Austin. Some of the protesters were on their way to anti-war demonstration near Bush's Ranch outside Crawford on May the 3rd. They were driving through Crawford and planned to protest outside the city limits, but instead were met by a blockade of law enforcement officials from the city and the county inside the city limits, the lawsuit said. Police gave the crowd several minutes to leave, but some people remained outside their cars once the time had expired, Harrison said. A Central Texas police officer has been fired after being arrested for allegedly repeatedly fondling the breasts of a girl younger than 17. The Crawford City Council voted Wednesday to fire Crawford police officer William Byram, 28, after he was arrested on October 28, 2014, for inappropriate sexual contact with a minor following an investigation conducted by the Texas Rangers. An arrest affidavit said Byram touched the victim's breasts 4 or 5 times in 2013, both over and under clothing. Byram also told an investigator that he placed his hands under the victim's shirt and touched her breasts on another date, although he could not recall the exact date.
Police Chief Clay Bruton discovered that Christian had been improperly disposing of traffic tickets for more than 10 years and not reporting them to the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Office of Court Administration as required by law. The city had to pay the state $4,235. The amount a state comptroller's audit determined the state was owed for the tickets Crawford officers had issued during the past 4 years. Christian was relieved of handling court duties in October, and Crawford hired a part-time clerk last year to handle traffic tickets and other transactions. Christian expressed frustrations during Tuesday's discussion, which initially was scheduled to be held in closed executive session but instead was conducted in the open meeting at her request. Not to say that I've done everything right, because I haven't, but I've done it to the best of my abilities, Christian said. I have operated under what I consider to be my judgment and authority at that time. To the best of my knowledge, I have never shorted the state of Texas some funding. If I did some things wrong, I didn't do them intentionally. Christian declined comment after the meeting, quickly packing up her personal belongings from her City Hall desk after the council's vote. Mayor Brent Meyer levied criticisms at Christian, saying her actions undermined the work Crawford police officers were doing in trying to curb speeding and traffic violations. According to city officials, Christian told those with citations that they could pay a fine and she would give them deferred probation and hold the ticket for 90 days. If they had no additional problems, she promised to dismiss the ticket. City Attorney Charlie Buenger said in Tuesday's meeting that only the city judge or a prosecutor had the authority to dismiss tickets. Cheryl acted on her own behalf as prosecutor and judge in effecting these tickets in the court, Meyer said. I have no trust in the way the court was handled when she was over it. But council members Robert Campbell and Terrence Smith said the city should have given Christian a second chance before firing her, adding that her mismanagement of the tickets should not override her performance with other city administrative duties. Both voted against terminating Christian, with newly elected council members Marilyn Judy and Anthony Bubert joining Patty Bubel in voting to fire Christian. Former council members Barry Bays and Franklin Abel, who were supporters of Christian, lost their seats in the May 9th council election, which was held 2 days after the Tribune-Herald initially reported on the ticket problems. Campbell further charged that Meyer had not kept the council fully abreast of the investigation into the handling of the traffic tickets. Campbell said Tuesday was the first time he heard a full breakdown from Bruton of Christian's actions, but Meyer said the council initially discussed it during an executive session at its September 17th meeting. Railroad job. This has been a railroad job from Jump Street, Campbell said in an exchange with Buenger. When it first started off, it was said, "We are not after Ms. Christian's job." Oh no, and now it's come straight to that fact. Christian acknowledged to the council that a judge should have been handling the ticket decisions. But she told city leaders that she had never had any formal training in handling court duties with the city. Christian said she also did not complete state-mandated continuing education classes for court clerks. She said her decision to skip them was out of concern that she did not have a backup in her one-girl operation to fill in while she completed the courses. She said she thought that if ticket recipients provide proof of driver's license and insurance, she could dismiss the citations. I'm a one-girl office and I do a whole lot of work. Court work is a part of that work, but a very small part, historically, Christian said. We've only started writing a lot of tickets in the last 2 or 3 years. 4 or 5 tickets a month was normal in the past years. Christian told the council no one from the city had come to her directly in the months since the investigation started to air concerns or hear her side of the story. Buenger said while Christian was told to cease handling traffic tickets in October, she continued to dismiss citations as recently as March. I don't see how we can sit here, as a council, as an employer, and to allow that to keep going on, Bubert said. In actuality, they're defending corruption, incompetence, or both. Law-abiding folks may find it interesting that council member Terrence Smith apparently believes the town council and perhaps the community should apologize to the city secretary. The fact Christian has not been sent packing after the council had to send more than $4,200 to the state because of her alleged actions. The fact motorists may discover ticket issues thought resolved or dismissed long ago were not. The fact local law enforcement obviously hasn't always been enforced all demand leadership that puts constituents' integrity and good government first, not Cheryl Christian. Veteran Trib staff writer Tommy Witherspoon's breaking coverage about this small-town scandal in Friday's edition revealed that Christian had not reported traffic violations to the Texas Department of Public Safety and Office of Court Administration as required by law for at least 10 years. What's more, city officials say Christian has admitted operating in this manner during her entire 18-year tenure. To their credit, Crawford's mayor, police chief, municipal judge, and city attorney say the matter may warrant further investigation. We agree, though obviously the first thing to do is scrutinize city operations and how something like this could have gone on for so long. And if the evidence is so damning, why on earth is Christian still in a post of public trust? The city secretary's attitude alone suggests a problem, something we've noticed for years, even before others recognized it. When dutifully contacted by the Trib for her side of Friday's story, Christian answered by referring to the years when Crawford was in the national spotlight because President George W. Bush was president. I survived the Bush years with a policy of no comment to the media, and I don't see any reason for me to change that now. A lot of us complain loudly about our leaders in Washington and Austin tolerating such behavior. Maybe Crawford leadership should set an example for the rest rather than demonstrating they actually know better. In a split decision Wednesday, the Crawford City Council came one vote away from firing the city's police chief, citing lack of confidence. After almost an hour of discussion, the council voted 3-2 to terminate Police Chief Clay Bruton, a vote shy of the supermajority needed to remove him from the position he has held for almost 5 years. Council members Francis Rowe and Patty Bubel cast the 2 votes to keep Bruton as chief. 4 residents spoke during a public comment period before the vote, expressing their gratitude for the work Bruton has done for the city of Crawford and the professionalism he has maintained since he started in November 2012. The council's agenda listed discussion of Bruton's employment as happening behind closed doors in executive session, but the chief asked those talks be held in public. Mayor Marilyn Judy opened discussion on the chief by saying, "I will turn it over to the council because y'all are the ones who wanted it on the agenda." Councilmember Lewis Snow asked to see any complaints filed against Bruton. Judy said no written complaints have been filed. Snow said he has heard complaints regarding to the chief. City Attorney Charles Buenger said in order for the council to take any disciplinary action on a police officer, the law requires a complaint be made in writing, signed, and given to that officer for review. Bruton had not been made aware of any written complaints, said Grant Goodwin, a staff attorney for the Combined Law Enforcement Associations of Texas who was there on behalf of the chief. Bubel said all the council has is hearsay. Residents have approached individual council members to complain about Bruton, Bubel said. They didn't speak up, but they're not going to the city council meeting, and that pisses me off badly, she said. We have a couple in this room who have come to me and said they've been harassed and they didn't speak up. Snow said there are a lot of people who want to complain but they fear retaliation. Buenger said that sentiment is typical in a city of any size. If they aren't willing to do that, it's not a complaint, he said. Rose said not a single person spoke against the chief. If people are not going to talk against him, then whose fault is it? Rose said. Bubel asked the mayor if Bruton had been performing to the standards outlined for him. Judy said the council performed an evaluation in the fall of last year and didn't find any issues. Snow said there's a Crawford police officer who won't speak to him because he fears Bruton. Snow also said a former officer quit the department because he got tired of being treated like a dog by the chief. Buenger told the council members they are the head of the city government as a group, but they can't individually go around the chain of command. That's going to get you in trouble, he said. Councilmember Jamie Burgess said one morning she noticed Bruton showed up for work at 8:53 a.m., but on his timesheet, he reported 7:45 a.m. Goodwin said that level of micromanagement by a city council only creates problems and alienates people. Goodwin and Judy asked Burgess if she knows whether Bruton had performed work duties before coming to the office. Burgess said she has tried to talk to Bruton about issues before, including one day when she asked about fireworks. By the time I walked out of that office I felt like a puppy that had been kicked over and over, she said. Before the meeting, Bruton told the Tribune-Herald he had worked in a reserve capacity for the city since 1997 until he became chief. In all those years, he has had a positive working relationship with the city, and the police department has come a long way recently, he said.
Welcome back. We have some breaking news right now out of Crawford. Texas Rangers have arrested Crawford Police Chief Clayton Brutton. He faces a charge of felony tampering with physical evidence. DPS says he was booked into the McLennan County Jail. We'll have more information as it becomes available.
Former Crawford Police Chief Clay Bruton was arrested by Texas Department of Public Safety authorities Friday on a felony charge of sexual assault that occurred in Bell County, authorities reported. Bruton, 47, of Temple, remained in Bell County Jail on a proposed bond listed at $200,000, according to an arrest warrant filed Friday that was signed by Justice of the Peace Bill Cook. It was unclear when the alleged sexual assault took place. However, the warrant was listed as an instanter, meaning the offense occurred within 24 hours of it being signed. A copy of the probable cause statement was not released Saturday. Bruton resigned from his position as police chief in Crawford in late August after the Texas Rangers arrested him in Bell County on August 20th. He is facing a McLennan County third-degree felony charge of tampering with evidence. The McLennan County charge accused Bruton of deleting sexually explicit videos from his phone as the Rangers investigated allegations of sexual misconduct against the former police chief. Rangers launched an investigation July 24th involving Bruton and 3 people, described in the affidavit as victims, gave accounts of encounters with Bruton during his time as chief, according to the McLennan County arrest affidavit. At the time, the only criminal charge filed against him is the tampering with evidence charge. Bruton reportedly admitted to deleting graphic video and images off his phone before handing over his phone to the Rangers last month, according to the McLennan County charge. During a voluntary interview last month at the Crawford Police Department, Bruton told Texas Ranger Adam Russell all encounters were consensual, according to the McLennan County affidavit. Russell told Bruton he intended to confiscate the police chief's phone to continue the investigation.
Now, fast forward to March of 2023.
On Tuesday, I drove to the small town of Crawford, Texas, as I had been told that there were 30.06/30.07 signs at the entrance of City Hall and the police department. Texas Government Code 411-209 prohibits a state agency or a political subdivision of the state from taking any action, including an action consisting of the provision of notice by communication described by Section 3006 or 3007 Penal Code, that stop. Tests or implies that a license holder who is carrying a handgun under the authority of this subchapter is prohibited from entering or remaining on a premises or other place owned or leased by the governmental entity unless license holders are prohibited from carrying a handgun on the premises or other place by Section 46.3 Penal Code or other law. The purpose of my visit was to take a photograph of the signs and to inform the city of the need for the signs removal. I returned to Crawford City Hall today as on Wednesday I had sent both the Crawford Chief of Police and the City Secretary both an email and a fax stating that they had 3 days to remove the sign. I attempted to call the City Secretary and the Chief of Police throughout much of yesterday and today to ascertain if they had received said email/fax and never received an answer. The following audio and video will show what happened during both encounters.
You have court back there? Municipal court?
We do. We don't really conduct it very often here. But if we need to have like pre-trials, they'll be back there. That's also our council chambers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nancy out there.
Yes, sir, it is. How you doing?
I'm good.
I'm Brent.
Brent, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you very kindly. I was curious about your sign out, your 30.6 and 30.7 signs out there. Do they apply to this building here or just your office, the police department side?
Well, it depends. If there's a council meeting, it's a government office. So, everything pretty much follows the law.
Right. Well, you can go to city, not this legislative section 4 last permits license holders to go into the council meetings.
License holder,
Yes, sir.
but not open carry.
Open carry too, yes. A license to carry is both open and concealed.
Well, I'm aware of it, but we haven't had any problems here. All right, then.
So I was just curious about your sign there.
Yeah, that's what it is. Nice meeting you, Brent.
Yes, sir. Thank you
You be
for
careful.
stopping by here.
Be careful.
I can tell you where it's at. It's called Sweet Dreams and More, and it's if you go down 317 to Highway 84, you'll hit Highway 84 to red light. It'll be the first red light you come to, and you'll turn right on Highway 84.
Highway 84, take a right.
And then it's going to be a little bit down that way, and the bakery will be on your right.
And what's the name of it?
Sweet Dreams
Dreams.
Bakery.
Okay. Thank you, Alicia. Bye.
Crawford City Hall?
Is that something you want to do?
Yes. How can I help you? $400 a month, and that includes your water, sewer, and electric. No. 2 maximum. No, you cannot. That is against policy. We'd have to check on that.
How you doing, Chief?
I'm good. What you need?
I was just wondering if you got my email.
What? No.
I don't have anything to say to you.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Have a good
Yeah.
day, sir.
Yes, sir.
Take care.
You as well. So you won't deny or acknowledge if you got an email
No,
from
you
me?
do what you need to do.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.